Is the P365 Fuse truly the fusion of capability and concealment, or is it proof that we've gone too far from the original P365 design? That's what we're going to talk about today in PP Tactical. Before we jump into this review, guys, as always, we'd really appreciate your like, comment, positive or negative, and your subscription to the channel. In exchange, we'll provide you with yet another ever increasingly terribly cringy gun meme. Oh, there it is right there. Gosh, they never end. They keep getting worse and worse. This P365 Fuse, it's crazy it even holds still the same name as the original P365. Started off as a 10+1 3.1 inch barrel subcompact pistol, now has evolved into this 4.3 inch slide, 17 round capacity into this P365 Fuse. Well, how did we get here? You know, started off with that P365, then slightly grew a little bit into the X and the XL, giving us that 12+1 capacity, that good balance of concealment, ability to shoot the gun, hang onto the gun, a little bit more capacity. Then we took the next jump up to the X Macro. The X Macro is a fan favorite of many because it has the extended grip length, so you can get a really solid full firing grip on the gun. And that featured a few different models. We had the comp model, the normal model, and now we've jumped to the P365 Fuse. I don't know how we would possibly get much bigger on a P365 unless we went to a 5-inch slide, but this is about as big as I think we're going to be able to get. So this gun has a same capacity as the Macro, uses the same magazines, the 17+1, as well as 2 included 21 round magazines, and like I mentioned before, that 4.3 inch barrel length. We're going to test it out today, do some shooting, and see how it goes. Let's talk about the ergonomics of this gun. So if you're familiar with the Macro, the XL, it's not going to be too far off, but one thing that's really cool, there are some really small noticeable additions that they've made in the Fuse that I think Sig hopefully will continue to integrate in some of their pistols going forward. The first thing you're going to note is this laser grip texture. Now what's really interesting about this, a lot of laser stipple jobs that you'll see done, they don't actually give you a lot of extra texturing and aggression and roughness to really dig your hands into. They're kind of just for looks and they're flat. I will say, when I picked this gun up, I was shocked that this came from the factory from Sig. Kind of has these almost little honeycomb divots in here with these raised edges that really do resemble almost like a legitimate hand stipple job. I noticed when firing this gun, I really enjoyed how it locked my hand in, and it's definitely a little rough. You can see I got some calluses there from just the aggressiveness of this grip. But overall, I think this is a really cool step in the right direction in terms of grip texturing, because the grip texture wasn't particularly aggressive on the Macro, the X or the XL. The only thing that I wish Sig would do, I'm not sure if they're going to do it, is to increase the amount of texturing higher up on the frame here. So I love how this feels down here, but then when I take my support hand and I roll my support hand into the grip, there's a pretty decent chunk of my thumb that's not touching anything but bare, smooth plastic. So overall, I really do like the way that this grip texture feels. It may be a little aggressive for some people for inside the waistband concealed carry, but that's going to be personal preference. You can always, make it smoother if you would like. And as always, these Sig, same as the Macro, it has this little pin here. You can take your adjustable back straps to fit your hand size. For me, I just run the standard one that comes in the gun. I find that I have plenty of room front to back for my support hand to fill in my grip. Now let's talk about this magwell. This is a really cool addition that the Fuse comes with that I think is the first time for Sig, is including a magwell straight from the factory. Now this magwell is removable. It's got a little pin back here. So if you're shooting in a division that doesn't allow it, you can take it off. But if you're using this for carry, or using this for other types of competition or shooting on your own, you're going to find this magwell really aids in the reload speed. One thing with these subcompact guns is reloads can definitely be a little bit more difficult because you're taking a more narrow magazine, putting it into a narrow opening, and trying to do that under speed can be difficult. I found this magwell to aid my reload speed tremendously, and it's something that I really appreciate that they included with this gun from the factory. On top of the aiding with the reload, you're also going to notice it gives you a little bit of a ledge for your pinky, depending on where your hand sits, to rest against, and you get kind of an extra point of contact with your support hand, which is good for keeping that nice dominant support hand, strong support hand grip, to be able to maintain that grip through longer strings of fire. Another new addition, these are 2 new updates actually in terms of differences from the X Macro, is the magazine release. It's the same little triangle shape that we've seen before, but it's got all these little ridges, which is a nice extra texture added. So the normal one, like on mine, my carry macro, it's just flat. It doesn't have any texturing on it. What's really nice is depending on what angle you use, whether you use your thumb or you use your middle finger, you're gonna be able to catch that magazine release really easily, and it doesn't take too much pressure, too much tension to drop that magazine. Just enough, a good balance to where you're gonna be able to quickly disengage the magazine release to drop that magazine. Not so little that if you barely bump it, you're gonna have your magazine coming loose or anything like that. I've always really loved the design of the 365 magazine release. For me, or about size medium glove, and I really enjoy being able to hit that magazine release and disengage it every single time with my third finger. But you know, if you like to use your thumb, that's gonna be perfectly acceptable as well. Another small added feature that you may not notice until you start shooting the gun is this little extended ledge here on the slide catch. So we're gonna go and lock that gun to the rear. We're gonna drop this magazine out, and you're gonna see, compared to the normal 365s and what they shipped with, this little ledge out here sticks just a little bit out farther, and it makes it so much easier if you're trying to hit that slide catch with your dominant thumb going for a reload. Instead of having to potentially shift your grip a little bit, even with my hand size, I can clip that and put a little bit of pressure, and I can send that slide home. I really appreciated this training with this gun. Just noticed during those reloads where my slide was locked to the rear, boom, I can hit that with my dominant thumb, and I can get back to shooting. Let's talk about the slide, everything we got going on up top up here. There are few different options you can get with this fuse. You can get it just optics ready with the irons installed. This one that we have came with the Romeo X. This is the Romeo X enclosed optic. Sits in an RMSC footprint. And I actually think it's really cool now that we can get optics from the factory already installed on your gun. I think that's a really cool thing. But in this gun particularly, I really like how deep the optics cut is. If you're used to the 365 XL, the X Macro, this is just the same. It's the exact same family of guns. So you're gonna be used to, when you present that pistol out, it sits very low into the slide. And when I look through this, my iron sights are kind of in the bottom third of the window. And so you're gonna be able to get that co-witness if that's something that you really like. Talking about these iron sights, these are definitely a departure and are different than your typical irons that come on your Macro, your XL, or any of your different 365 type guns. This is a very thin fiber optic front sight, as well as a kind of a hackathorn style blacked out rear. I think that this is probably one of, if not the best iron sight setups if you're an iron sight shooter for competitive shooting, as well as being able to be very precise with your shots. If you pick this up and you look at it in person, you'll see just how thin that fiber optic is. To me, this is about as close that you can get to shooting a red dot, kind of the same kind of sight picture that you would see with a red dot without having a red dot. So I think that's really something really cool that they included from the factory. These slide serrations are crazy compared to what we see normally on the Macro, the XL. They're pretty shallow, and you definitely have to get a really positive, strong grip on that gun to be able to manipulate the slide. These are definitely a departure. These serrations are extremely deep. If you get a good view there, you can see just how deeply they've cut these serrations into the slide. I find that to be very nice when manipulating the gun, either from the rear, as you can get a good positive pressure, as this gun definitely takes a little bit of force to be able to manipulate the slide. It's not super light, but when I'm coming up here, I'm press checking, or maybe you're racking the gun from the front, you're gonna notice, you're gonna be able to catch those deep slide serrations in your finger pretty easily. And I like that they added that, especially with the added length of the slide, considering this is a 4.3 inch barrel. So you can get positive control over a little bit longer slide than you may be used to. Let's talk about the trigger. Guys, this is not any serious departure if you're used to the 365 Macro XL. It shares the same trigger shoe as the normal P365 XL, X Macro, same kind of thing. They haven't really changed much in this. The only difference is this kind of nitride silver coating right here. In my opinion, I think that's just for aesthetics. It does look good, but it doesn't actually change the function of the trigger too much. So now I'm gonna go ahead and show you, if you're not familiar with the P365 type trigger, you're gonna have a decent amount of pre-travel right there. You're gonna come to a wall, and then you're gonna have to get through some mush. You have another fake wall, and then the gun finally goes off. And I'll show you the reset here. So now we've reset the gun. Pretty long reset. This trigger is 100% usable and serviceable for what this gun is intended for, right? Which I think the P365 series as a whole is more geared towards, you know, close-up type work, close competitive shooting, defensive type of engagements and stuff like that. I will say it's definitely something that could be improved upon when we talk about the 365 series. They're totally 100% serviceable and you can use them well. And good shooters are gonna be able to shoot perfectly accurately with this. But if you're expecting something because they changed the color of the trigger, it's gonna be about the same as what you're used to. We're gonna keep talking about this P365 fuse, some of the things we like, some of the things we don't like. But guys, if you're a reader, that's more your jam, you wanna get some more details, some more specs, check out that link down in the description. All right guys, we're out here with the 365 fuse. We're gonna do the accuracy portion of this testing. So we have a few different ammo types we're gonna test for consistency. We've got AAC 115 grain, Blazer 115 grain, MagTech 124 grain, Staccato 124 grain, and for defensive loads, we've got the Sig 124 V-Crown. We're gonna go ahead and jump in, starting off with the AAC. 5 rounds each. Okay. Accuracy results are really good with this P365 fuse. I think probably aided by the 4.3-inch barrel length. That definitely helps. So as you can see here, all of our groups with all the different ammo types were well under an inch with exceptional performance. Could have just been me, could have been the ammo, but all the MagTech went through the same hole except one little flyer I had here on my first shot. All these Staccatos are basically through the same hole as well. And our defensive V-Crown ammo, the 124 from the Sig, turned out really well as well. So in terms of accuracy, this gun's gonna be as accurate as you, the user, can make it. I'll start from the holster. I mean, that's like, you know. Got a little trigger freeze there. So we're just doing some kind of dynamic shooting with this P365 fuse. This has the newer from Sig, the 21 round mags that ship with this fuse. And as you could saw, we got a little bit of a failure to feed there. That could be from a few different reasons. That could be the magazine spring. It could be the feed ramp, the way the interface is. So this is something to keep in mind. We're gonna keep running these and we're gonna see if we get any more of these malfunctions. Maybe it was a one-off. We're just gonna keep shooting. So we went ahead and we cleared that malfunction. Now this is something interesting to look at. So you can see this is a Blazer 115 and then this is also Blazer 115 in that magazine. You can see how much that round is set back. So that could have been what caused that malfunction. You could have had the case, the edge of this case right here, could have gotten caught on the feed ramp. So we're gonna keep shooting. As long as we don't have any more of these, we'll just call it a fluke with the ammo. There we go. There's another failure to feed. This one was actually with the 17 round magazine. So now I think we've isolated that this is something to do with the feed ramp because it's from 2 different magazines. Now this is a new barrel. This is a longer barrel from Sig. They haven't made this for the 365 series before. So we'll go ahead and pull that mag and we will look at the ammo. And there you go. As you can see, that's a normal length. That round looks totally fine, doesn't look set back. Something to keep in mind. So now that we've had 2 failure to feeds in less than a few hundred rounds, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do some burn downs with these 21 round magazines, and we're gonna see if we can induce another malfunction, see if we can continue, or maybe we just push through it and we have 100% reliability. Okay, made it through those 2 mags perfectly fine. Let's keep shooting. We got this 17 round mag that we just had the malfunction with, shooting strong hand only. So we're gonna run both hands, we're gonna mag dump it, see if we get another malfunction. Okay, that one ran totally fine that time. Let's keep it going. Same 17 round magazine, we're gonna run it again, strong hand only, see if we can induce any malfunctions. All right, we got lock back and it ran totally fine. So we're gonna keep shooting and see if anything more pops up. Okay, good, no malfunction. This is another Blazer. Okay, good, made it through that one. And this is our MagTech. Okay, that was just me. Okay, ran totally fine. Dude, that thing is getting hot. Sweet. Sweet. Okay. Cool. Good stuff. Sweet. Running strong. All right, I'll just leave those on the ground. A few more. Cool. Dude, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like even the trigger is like crazy hot. That's wild.
If you need gloves, dude, I have a pair.
Oh, do you have some?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I might throw one on. Yeah. Yeah. We are almost at 500 rounds in, just shooting this just today. And it's gotten so spicy, even the trigger is extremely hot to the touch. As you'll see in some of these clips, my support hand is actually kind of popping off a little bit because my thumb keeps touching the slide catch and it's spicy. So went in and threw a glove on here just to make it a little easier and more enjoyable to keep shooting this gun. All right, there we go. Another mag down. All right, see if I can get 2 hands on it. We're about to wrap this video up, jump into the conclusion, but first, guys, if you haven't already, we'd really appreciate it if you go ahead and like the video, comment, subscription to the channel. I think we got a lot going on here with the P365 Fuse. Let's talk first about some of the reliability things that we had going on. So we noticed within our first 500 rounds that we had 2 failures to feed. One of the rounds that we shot, they were both from the same box of Blazer 115. So one of the rounds looked like it was a little bit recessed, that definitely could have caught on the feed ramp. The second one did not look deformed, but to note, it did come from the same box of Blazer 115. All the rest of the ammo we shot, which was the MagTech, and we shot staccato ammo as well when we were testing the ammunition. We shot some hollow points. We didn't have any feeding issues, as well as we ran a lot of AAC ammo, and we didn't have any more of those failure to feeds. So something to watch out. Maybe this gun may be temperamental, not liking Blazer Brass 115, even though we think we isolated it to potentially 1 box, but that's just something to keep in mind if you're thinking about looking at this gun. I think we have a lot of cool improvements to the 365 lineup with this gun. As I mentioned, the improved grip texture, the small ergonomic changes to the magazine release and the slide catch definitely make for a pretty intuitive and good shooting experience. Now the 4.3-inch barrel, I think who is looking for something like this, well, maybe you carry a P365 XL or an X or a normal 365, and you're looking for a dedicated competitive shooting gun that's going to actually be pretty competitive with what else is out there in the field. I think you're going to get some benefit maybe from this with the longer barrel. In terms of coming with these 21 round magazines as well, I think it's really nice that you literally could buy this gun. You have a 17 round mag and 2 21 round mags. You could buy this gun, you know, confirm 0 on your optic, and you could go shoot a match the same day. What's really cool about these Sig magazines is these are interchangeable with the smaller guns. So if you have a normal P365 XL, all these magazines are going to work in that gun as well. And so with the swappable FCU, you could even go out and buy the P365-FUSE, swap the FCU over to a different frame. You get a lot of customizability, and I like that they're growing the family of the P365 guns. You may look at this and think, hey, I don't need a slide that long. I don't need the 21 round magazine. Yeah, the gun may not be for you, but there's definitely a population of people that I think are looking maybe for the full size shooting experience, but they got smaller hands, and the full-size gun is a lot harder for them to wrap around and get to all the controls. For me, as somebody with a smaller hand, I can easily get to all the controls in this gun, and I find it very intuitive when I'm shooting. In terms of the reliability, yes, we had those 2 failures to feeds, but otherwise shooting hundreds more rounds, we did not have any failures to feed. And the 365 line of guns has an incredible reliability track record. They're probably one of the most shot rental guns in the United States, the P365 family of guns. So overall, I think that Sig has really ironed out and done a really good job of expanding the P365 line. And this latest one, the Fuse, brings some cool new changes to the table. Guys, as always, we really appreciate taking the time to watch our video. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Pew Pew Tactical,